Benedikt, nice to see you.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, welcome back to InnoDex program. It's now about a material and a company which we found in the US. They develop a textile made completely out of natural resources and keep the material biodegradable, which is quite interesting. And they use it for car interior. But now we have Benedikt Henkel here with us, sitting in New York. So he's having his breakfast maybe right now. Yeah, thanks for the time, and you have a presentation with you. So we are very much interested in going through the slides with you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to introduce myself and Natural Fiber Welding. My name is Benedikt. So at Natural Fiber Welding, we really try to redefine the standard of circularity, especially in the textile market. And as we go through this presentation today, as Sasha said, our focus right now is really the surface areas of from the shoe to accessories, even launching next year with some upholstery companies, and then of course the automotive market in seating, door panels, IP panels. So a little background about Natural Fiber Welding, which I might sometimes refer as NFW. NFW is still considered a startup, and we were founded in 2015 by Luke Halls. Basically, the mission of NFW was how can we, with different products, which are created by nutrients, which basically we could call in many areas minerals or plants, to really interrupt this cycle of using fossil fuel, especially petrochemicals, in the textile industry and create a real truly circular product which can be recycled or be biodegradable. So with different technologies, we really focused on a yarn technology called Clarus, but then also thinking about the leather industry, which nowadays, if we see leather, 50% of it is probably leatherette, meaning it's made by petrochemicals. Or we have, of course, real leather, which has also a terrible carbon footprint because of the water use and the chemicals used in the dyeing process. So the offset and the partners and investors truly believe there's a better option than relying on petrochemicals. And by so doing, we created a variety of products, which I will focus on in the next couple slides. So the circularity of things is kind of our new motto. We just came out with it this summer, but it's very similar. We can't think about circularity just in one way. We have to think about it in a holistic way, meaning we have nutrients which are grown every day, and we can find them in nature, but we have to use them the correct way, meaning we can't use nutrients which are used in the agriculture industry to feed I think last week we got the new numbers, we are now at 8 billion people on this planet. So we got to be smart to really use nutrients, which might be actually waste product in the agricultural industry, or nutrients which are not used in the food supply. So if you think about this concept, it kind of grows into a whole new industry and whole new economics. So if we talk about the circularity things, we really use the abstract thinking from the 90s to Internet of Things. We really want to transform the modern life like the Internet of Things did in the 90s by looking at ingredients, sourcing, manufacturing to produce end-of-life products. So now I'll go in details which products we have at the moment, which really focus on surface materials. Our most popular and most developed product is called Miram. It's a plastic-free leather alternative, which is scaling rapidly. For example, I think you in the show you have a camper shoe from Spain, which is using Miram. We have car interiors from BMW, which will use Miram in the future. So there are many different companies using Miram or are about to use Miram. Tonera is a bioneutral plastic-free foam. So as we entered Miram in the market, it is true that especially in the upholstery and seating market, we need to have something supporting a surface material. And what we figured out that a lot of time, it does not help if you just have one perfect circular surface material, but you need to back up your surface material with something circular as well, especially if we think about recycling or end of life. As you glue things together, even if you use biodegradable glue, you still need to think about the whole product itself. So we're entering right now the Tonera as our foam backer for Miram. And we also have on the shoe markets, as we create a true circular shoe, thinking about using a leather-like alternative like Miram, maybe Tonera as a foam inside the shoe. We're thinking about the rubber shoe sole as well. So we can create with the same technology, we can create 100% recyclable and plant-based rubber outsole. And then we, of course, have our Clarus, our original technology, which is basically using a cotton textile, which can be fibered together. We can use different cotton strength or even silk strength, fiber them together with our patent technology. And by doing so, we create a textile which is comparable to any polyester textile, meaning it's durable, highly breathable, and also elastic. So looking at all these four products, what they all have in common is we use the natural materials which create these products, but then after the consumer receives our product and creates their product, aka the automotive seat, the shoe, maybe the jeans or the purse, what happens to these products? I think that's what we often forget. So hopefully these products stay at the customers for many years and bring great joy to the consumer. But in reality, we wear our clothes, maybe some of the high-end clothes, maybe 10, 15 years, but eventually they wear out and reach end of life. So especially in Europe, we have nowadays, of course, great, thrift stores and things. Maybe it's not my style anymore, but maybe somebody else likes it. But the truth of the matter is eventually, maybe 20, 30, 50 years, any of our materials will end up in a waste, in the trash. So what happens to this trash is a big problem we all know about. We have landfills, and how can we create a product what is biodegradable, but at the same time not harm the environment. So if you start out with something 100% natural, bringing it from nature, you can say with confidence that it also, as it gets returned to nature, that it will not harm our earth, especially soil and waterways. So that's kind of like the big picture of our products. Now we're talking about ingredients. I think that's the question I get the most. Okay, what are our ingredients made of? So a lot of the main 5 ingredients is cellulose, meaning plant matter, natural rubber, which is found in Indonesia, a lot of times used in the tire industry, but for Miram, this gets us the elasticity we need for a leather-like product. We, of course, use also waste products from the agricultural, like rice hulls. For colors, we use mineral fillers, silicas, clays, and then to combine our products, we use a lot of oils, mostly vegetable oils we find in the in most industries. So focusing a little bit, talking about Miram. At this point, Miram is the only plastic-free leather alternative, which is actually scalable to the market. Meaning, maybe a lot of you guys heard of cactus leather, apple leather, and all these very cool, exciting products. But the problem with a exciting cactus leather is how many cactuses do you have to plant to get a cactus leather out, and what is the price at such an operation? So that's where we really have our advantage. We create products which need and should scale at a global level and is affordable to the wide market. So that's what Miram really brings the difference to our competitors who are in the sustainable field to try to solve the leather and leatherette issue. As mentioned, 100% bio-based, and of course the whole circular thing still is true. We have a fully recyclable and reusable product. I will talk about the recyclable thing in some slides below, but I think that's very interesting. So, of course, I talked about end-of-life, fully biodegradable, but Miram, for example, is also recyclable in a way of if you bring Miram back to us, we could create new Miram out of it. So, and I have some videos for that later to kind of show you the process as well. So now a lot of our customers look at the carbon footprint of a product as more regulations, especially in the EU and in the United States, come out looking at a total carbon footprint. I think that's really our winning formula, that we are 10 times less of the greenhouse gases will be produced creating Miram than a traditional or synthetic leather. So for comparison here, we have a little stat for talking about carbon footprint. In those gray bars, you see just PU, so leatherette. We have around 7 to 15 kilos of CO2 in the process of making a leatherette. And if you look at Miram, we are, as mentioned, around 1/10 of that in production. So that really helps to drive home our story. Not that we're 100% natural based, but we also, in our process, create a very low carbon footprint, which is very interesting, especially for large companies like BMW, who have their carbon footprint goals in their supply chain. Talking about different certifications, I think a lot of times, as we mentioned, rubber, a lot of people are worried about deforestation, and we are fighting that with different certifications on the rubber, using only certified rubber. And of course, then we certify our product that it has 100% bio-based. Of course, sometimes in the fashion industry, it's very helpful to be vegan friendly. So we have all our materials are PETA approved. So then I think what is very important on the design side, we can create all beautiful 100% natural products, bio-based product, but they need to also be treated similar than the products available. Talking about perforation, printing, etc. So we really try to create a product which our customer can use MIRUM the same way they used leatherette, meaning they can perforate, they can print on it. And by doing so, we can really we have the opportunity to switch a product line immediately, saying if the customer or our customer makes the decision to switch from a leather or leatherette to MIRUM, they can use that product the same way and don't have to change the whole manufacturing process of cut and sew and or printing or embroidering. Of course, a lot of people say, okay, we've seen these stories before, but as we receive these products, they fail in so many standards. And that's the great thing being a startup and having investments from the likes of large shoe brands and automotive brands. They did test MIRUM and they're still testing MIRUMs. And we really passed most of the industry standards for leather or leatherettes. So by passing these standards, we really have a track record. So now when customers call us, we have the ability to show that our product holds up to the market standards. So now we're coming to the end about focusing on MIRUM. But here we can see how we could actually recycle MIRUM. So on the right screen, you could see a product which is shredded MIRUM. So we already created our leather-like material, and now we shredded it into kind of a powdery form, and then we can calendar it back to MIRUM as you see on that roll. So that's very cool. So we can really reproduce as soon as we get the old bag nobody wants. We can shred it and bring it back to life with a new product. So talking about scalability, I think that's very important to a lot of people, is that next year right now we produce MIRUM in panels similar to a leather production, one height. We talking about a couple half-meter panels. To next year we will have our whole process a roll-to-roll goods. So you can buy 60-meter rolls of MIRUM, which then can be used at scale. I think we're gonna this first machine will produce around 3 million square meters a year, which really is a lot, but at the same time, putting more investment behind MIRUM, we can scale every year another 3 million square meters a year. So by the end in 2030, we could have produce more than 100 million square meters of MIRUM a year. And going a little bit of colors, I think it's interesting. For black, we use a lot of natural charcoal. So going back to that product line of, hey, how can everything be natural, 100% natural, and still create interesting colors? So black is created with charcoal, and then other lighter color like the blue you see, which is cobalt, we can use with using natural minerals found in nature. The same with the tan, we can use some clay products to create different color schemes. And then of course grains, textures. We can use the existing supply chain of grain papers used at the PU market and create different grains. And then talking about the foam, I mentioned earlier that for every product, MIRUM needs a backing, and we can use Tonera as our foam alternative, which is heavily cork-based, but still gives you the density and the same product story as MIRUM does. think that's kind of the overview of our two major products. I really thank you for listening the last 20 minutes or 15 minutes. And thank you to Howard Innovation for the invitation. Thank you, Sasha, for having me. And I'm not sure if we have some time for a short discussion.
Yeah, we have people around, so maybe there is a question concerning the material he's presented.
Regarding the shredding,
yeah.
recycle, is that going back to the same product, or is that?
So the question. Okay, I go to the computer. So hi Benedikt, the question is about is the recycled material going then back to the same product, or is it downcycled or upcycled?
So right now, of course, we need to get old product back. At this point, we have not received any product back since most of our products are hopefully still in the market and fully functional. But if we use our finished panels and play around, it's similar to anything. As you use a recycled product, as you break down, you might lose some of the properties. So we're playing around of saying, okay, we could use 50% recycled Miram and 50% virgin Miram to get the same properties back. So there's a give and take to that formula, meaning, okay, if it's for car seat and automotive, my standards are so high that I might have to do an 80% virgin, 20% recycled Miram base. But then if I use it just, for example, let's use a small label or a small wallet, leather wallet, Miram wallet, you don't need the same properties as for a car seat. So we could create 100% recycled wallet or bag, maybe not a shoe or car seat with 100% recycled Miram.
When you say panel, is it still flexible, or is it like a board?
You would not tell the difference. You might have it's similar. I would call it like back in the day when we used recycled paper. You might see some fibers, which actually on the design side gives you a great storyline because you can tell it's recycled, but it still has the same flexibilities. I'm talking more about testing as like elongation, braking force. You lose some of that, which is very more important in the shoe market as you have belly flex standards, or in the car where you have, you move into a car seat in and out. So you have a lot of stretching going on. So those products might not be 100% used 100% recycled Miram just because of the high testing standards we have to pass. But then a wallet, of course, which sits just in your purse or in your trousers, have, of course, a lot less testing standards to pass.
And when you talk about panels, instead of a roll of material, what does this mean? Is it a hard board?
No, we call it, so maybe that's the wrong English word. Panel is not, that's just how it's a height basically. It doesn't look like a height. Okay. So we right now produce large square product, and then next year, instead of right now, if you would order 100,000 Miram square feet, you would get a pallet of stacked product.
Okay.
Where next year you would get what is more accessible in the textile industry. You would get rolled goods, which is easier to use at our end customers, like a shoe manufacturer and seat manufacturer. So it just brings a little bit more the scalability aspect. So no, the panels are as soft as leather. The rolls will be as soft as leather. It's just the scalability change we're doing. So also that brings pricing down, etc., to be more scalable.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Another question.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for the time. And maybe we'll see you back again somewhere, somehow. Greetings to New York. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Yeah.